Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. I am your host, Elliot Pierre, and we're going to start the show off the same way we start every show off, with a moment of gratitude. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, so the fact that you're spending it with us really does mean the world to me, and I really do mean that. So thank you very much. On that note, Tanner, get away.
How's she cutting me, loves? You're listening to the Mac City Morning Show.
All right. Well, I'm excited for today's episode because I'm sitting across from a complete stranger, and that is my favorite person to meet for the show. So, as per usual, I do not introduce my guests because they could do a better job at that than myself. And if I wanted to, I couldn't today. So, on that note, can you please introduce yourself to the people at home?
Yeah, my name's Hilary Leith. I am a mother of two boys, and I'm currently 37 weeks pregnant with my third. I'm also the president of Fort McMurray Knights Rugby Club.
There we go. And I think that's why one of your friends got in contact with me or the show and said, "Hey, I know this cool person. Can you reach out to them?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then out of the blue, I was just like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And you're like, "Good. Who are you?"
Basically, yeah.
So you have a rugby past though. So let's hear all about rugby. I'm fascinated by the sport.
Yeah. Gosh, I've been playing rugby since I was, I think, 15. I started in high school, so 22 years.
Okay.
I've been playing rugby or been involved with rugby somehow. Um, Started in high school, played rep rugby high school in Vancouver. Played rep rugby, played for BC, played for Canada. Went to the World Cup in 2014 where I earned myself a silver medal. Yeah, we made it
Wow.
all the way to the final, which was huge for Canada, and it was super exciting for women's rugby in general. And I played a couple years overseas in England, a couple years overseas in New Zealand, and now I ended up here in Fort McMurray as the president. And I do play on the women's side here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say like, because I know
Yeah.
zilch about rugby, you played professionally then. So this was like a legitimate career. You got paid. This is what you did as your living when you lived overseas.
Yeah. So now I could say that it's professional rugby for women in 2021.
Right.
But when I played, so I went to England in 2010,
Okay.
2010 to 2012 I played, and it was as professional as women's rugby gets. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't get paid, but I played for the Saracens, which is a professional team now.
Right.
But we were just kind of paving the way
Yeah.
for now, which is
Trailblazers.
it's huge for women's rugby that they get paid now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get off the rugby topic for a second, or maybe we'll get back on it. Um, Playing rugby around the world, World Cup. This is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
How did you end up in Fort McMurray?
Right. Good question. My boyfriend lives here. He works here and he lives here. So we met in Victoria, BC, and we had our first baby in 2017, and we didn't want to commute with a baby anymore. So
Great.
I came up here.
Okay. And
Mhm.
he's been here for a bit now.
Yeah, his family, he's Polynesian. He's from Fiji, and his family came here in the late 90s.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's been here since then. So I think he went to high school, grade 11. He came.
Yeah, I think he went to Westwood.
Mhm.
Yeah, Westwood.
Yeah, yeah,
I bumped into him once or twice.
yeah,
He's hard to miss.
yeah. He's hard to miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and he was working up here, and we didn't wanna commute. So
Right.
yeah,
Awesome.
I know.
So now the local rugby scene here in Fort McMurray, we were talking very briefly before we started filming. Like I remember when that all started here in Fort McMurray, it really did get big after you had more Polynesian, Fijian people move here in like the early 2000s.
Mhm.
It became a real scene here in Fort McMurray and continued and has continued to grow.
Mhm.
So can you tell the people at home who may not be aware of it, like what's it all about here in Fort Mac?
Yeah. I can't tell you the year it started, but we've had a men's team. I want to say someone's gonna get mad. I think since the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our women's team just picked up about 4 years ago again. It was in the they did have a team I think in the 90s and then a little bit in the 2000s. There's always women playing rugby here, but to have an actual team, like I know I've been a part of it now for 4 years.
Okay.
And we're in the Edmonton Rugby Union, so we
Right.
travel a lot to Edmonton to play. It's kind of 50-50. They'll come up here, we'll go down there.
Right.
Yeah, so we have a men's team, a women's team, a junior program, a mini program.
Wow.
Yeah, our junior and mini program is really big. Actually, we just started it back up at Mac Island. We were offering some free sessions, so
Yeah.
but we got lots of kids out.
That's awesome. So now, in regards to rugby, how many players are on a team? Like, once again, I know nothing. I like to watch it. I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
I can kind of follow what's happening, maybe. But, like, yeah, I know nothing. So how many players are on a team?
So 15 players
Okay.
per side, and then I don't know, you got some subs up to maybe 22 players per game.
Okay.
But yeah, 15 players a side and 8 forwards, 7 backs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the duration of a game?
It is 40-minute halves, 2 40-minute halves, so 80 minutes.
And when it comes to subbing people in and out, like, how do you sub?
Mm,
Because it doesn't seem like there's timeouts.
yeah, when there's a whistle, you can sub someone off. There's always like a blood sub too, like you
A what
can,
sub?
a blood sub. So if there's blood and they have to go off and get taped up, the sub comes on, and then and a blood sub means that person can come back on. But if
Right.
you're subbed off, you usually can't come back on.
Okay. It's an extremely, like, physical, rough sport.
It is, yeah.
It really is. And, like, the padding is
There's
minimal,
no padding.
to say the least.
Yeah.
Like, maybe some guys I see, they wear helmets. Like, those, not
Scrum
even
cap.
helmet, like, the
scrum
soft.
cap. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
And shoulder pads. Some guys wear shoulder pads. Some girls.
So how does your body hold up to that after so many years of playing it? Like, there's got to be a lot of wear and tear.
Totally. I think, and I say this all the time, I think rugby's done more good for me than it has bad for my body. Like,
Okay.
it's just, it is a physical sport, but I've just always, I've always been working out and running around, and
Right.
yeah, I've broken some bones and gotten some stitches, and I definitely have my fair share of black eyes, but I think it's done more good for me. Yeah, but as I get older, it's definitely a bit harder to get up from some of the hits, but
Yeah, you don't bounce back as fast anymore.
no.
I snowboard, and I know, like, in my 20s when I used to fall, I'd just be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Shake it off and get going.
Totally.
Now when I fall, it's hard to get up sometimes.
Yeah, totally. In your 20s, you're like, I'll just go out and have some beers, and then now it's like, I'm gonna go home, have some water.
Yeah, that's exactly
Take a
it.
nap. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for anybody in the community, and I know things are probably different with COVID, so
Bit hard
if
right now.
they wanted to get involved prior to, or like when things were like relinquished, like how do they get involved? Where do you play? How do they get in contact? There must be a page or something, right?
Totally, yeah. Facebook page, Fort McMurray Knights Rugby Club. Instagram, yeah. Facebook page is probably the easiest way. Send us a message. But we play, if we were to play this summer, which I don't think there's going to be any contact sport, but
Right.
if we were to play, we Tuesday, Thursdays, we train, and Saturdays are games.
Okay.
And the season goes about May to September.
Okay. Now, there was a gentleman that used to live in Fort McMurray, used to be a radio host here. His name was Brad Karp.
Oh, yeah.
You know Bradley?
Yeah.
So I never came to see him do his job, but he was a water boy, is what he used to say. But I don't know if,
He
like,
played.
did he play?
Yeah.
Okay.
He definitely played, but he definitely ran the water out just as hard as he played.
Yeah. Because he would always talk about, like, being the water boy, and he'd put it on social media. And so in my head, because he's not a huge guy by any
No.
stretch, right?
Such a good team player, though. He's yeah.
So I was just like, maybe he is the water boy.
no, he played. He
Yeah.
played. He got in and played, and yeah. But he did run the water a lot, I think. But
Okay.
Yeah, he took his job very seriously.
As he does.
Yeah.
He's a character for sure. But okay, so he did play.
Yeah, he did.
All right. Well, we're at the part of the show where this is Tanner's segment. It's called the Mac City Minute.
Okay.
Tanner's going to ask you 5 questions. I have no idea what he's going to ask, so
Okay.
best of luck.
Question number 1. What is your favorite part of traveling the world playing sports?
God, the people I meet that I'm still friends with. Yeah, definitely the people I meet.
Question number 2. What is your favorite fast food item you've tried in your travels that isn't available in Canada?
Good
You know what? I was
question.
talking about this the other day. In New Zealand, you can get a burger and it's got beets in it, like a hamburger at McDonald's. I can't remember what it's called, but it's so good.
Okay.
Question number 3. What is one thing you've noticed about rugby in Fort McMurray that you haven't noticed in rugby anywhere else?
That's a hard question. I think the willingness to try, because there's not a lot of rugby players up here, but
Right.
we get so many people just wanting to get involved and wanting to make friends and wanting to make connections with people. So we get a lot of new girls and guys out here, which is nice, which is a hard thing to do at our age to start a new sport. So
Yeah.
yeah, the willingness to try, I think.
Question number 4. What do you do to celebrate a rugby win?
A boat race?
Oh, boat race. Okay, go into detail. What's a boat race for
Like,
some people
or
at home?
I mean, you do a boat race if you win or lose, I guess. But it's where there's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 people on each team, and each person has a beer, and the first 2 start. And as soon as you're done your beer, you put it on your head, and then the next person goes, and
Yeah.
and then yeah,
There's a winner at the end.
there's a
Whoever
winner
can
at the
drink
end.
faster. Yeah. There you go. A boat race.
But I drink beer.
Yeah.
And your final question. What is your best memory from rugby off the field?
Off the field. All the tours I've been on, for sure. Like, I'll talk about this all day as the people that I meet, but like getting the lead up to the World Cup, we went on quite a few tours, and just the relationships that I got to create with all those girls are something that I will never forget. Yeah.
Those have been your 5 questions.
There we go. So let's go back and talk about one of these questions a little bit in depth. What are you talking about beets in the burger? Like, did they put the beets
know,
in
I
the
don't
burger and
like
the meat,
New
or is it
Zealand.
like cut like a tomato on top?
Yeah, it is. And it was so good. And it was at a McDonald's in New Zealand. I mean, I was in New Zealand in 2007. I lived there. So this is
Right.
a while ago, but it just is like such a memory in
A
my
beets
mind.
on their burger.
I
Huh.
know, Yeah.
I wonder if you could recreate that.
You totally could, and I feel like there was maybe something else on there that I'm missing, but
Yeah.
but
Tanner,
it
we're
was
gonna have to
sold
look into
again.
this.
It was sold at
We got-
McDonald's.
We got to make it before anybody beats us to it.
Yeah. How so speaking of McDonald's, I love to hear people's like McDonald orders because I feel everybody has like their go-to
Their
jam.
thing, yeah.
So when you go to McDonald's, what's your go-to jam?
I'd get a McChicken.
A McChicken.
Yeah.
That's it. Just a sandwich.
Well, I'd got like the meal.
Okay.
And fries. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But a McChicken. That's like I don't really eat their hamburgers. I'd eat the McChicken.
Medium
Really?
fries, what to drink?
Medium fries. Probably a Diet Coke.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might be the first person that I've ever met that their go-to order is the McChicken.
I know. You know what? I used to like the 2 cheeseburger meal, but I don't know if they have that anymore. But so I did eat burgers, but this was a while ago. No,
Okay.
it's been a McChicken for years now.
McChicken.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't eat McDonald's that much, but if I were to, yeah.
I've never heard that. I've met some weirdos who like the fish fillet.
Ew, fish. I don't
Yeah, that's my
understand that.
mom. She likes the
That-
fish
Yeah.
there.
That would be E2 as well. Like, I don't know.
Ugh, I have no problem calling them weirdos. So give me the hate. I'm just saying, fish at McDonald's is kind of weird.
You ever heard of the McGangbang?
No.
Yeah, so you go to McDonald's and it's a chicken sandwich inside a double cheeseburger.
A chicken sandwich inside a double cheeseburger.
And it's a secret menu item, and you can actually go to the McDonald's, say that phrase, and they will make it for you.
Wow.
Or are they gonna laugh at you?
Oh, it's
Are
on.
you setting us up for
It's
something?
on Google.
Oh.
I got it on Google. So.
Okay.
A few weeks ago, I was on online, and back in the day, like me, anyways, you could go to McDonald's for your birthday. Like this was a thing, going to McDonald's
Oh,
or like
yeah.
even
They have
A&W
those
for your
play
birthday,
areas.
like was a thing, right? And supposedly, you can still go to McDonald's and ask them for birthday cake, and like they'll come out with like a proper old school looking birthday cake for you. I've never tested this. I don't know, but
Yet.
there was some videos on like Facebook and TikTok and whatnot of people actually going to McDonald's. Mind you, this is in America, and saying like, "Hey, can I get a birthday cake for $9?" And they come out with like a proper 1980s birthday cake for you.
Oh.
So
I don't know about here, but
food for
yeah.
thought. You might have to try this out. The what?
The McGangbang?
And a birthday. So anybody, when you're watching this, if anybody wants to try this out, maybe me and Tanner will. I don't know, but yeah, McDonald's.
Yeah.
That's my go-to fast
Uh-huh.
food joint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love McDonald's. So one more question, or because we're running out of time. When it comes to rugby, playing on the stage that you played on, like how did you get to that level, especially in a sport that you said like there wasn't really women's rugby wasn't a big thing at the time. How did you get involved, and how did you even prepare for
Yeah.
that level of competition?
Yeah. So I was also a wrestler actually in high school. I
Okay.
went to school for wrestling in Missouri. But I think wrestling made me the rugby player I am. Like it made me a better rugby player for sure.
Okay.
So I did play a lot of sports growing up, and yeah, like the physical aspect of rugby, that's just kind of what drew me in. And I think, Gordon played in 2 years in London and then a couple years in New Zealand, really helped grow my game. The culture over there, just learning so much about the rugby game and how they play, and yeah. And then I moved, as soon as I kind of got the, I from one of my coaches was like, you could play for Canada. So
Yeah.
as soon as I kind of heard that, I was like, that's it. I'm going to do everything I can do to play for Canada. And I moved to the island where rugby is centralized in Langford, Victoria.
Okay.
And just trained.
Yeah.
Trained my butt off. And yeah, once I made my first tour, I just kind of kept learning, kept training. And I never ever thought that I didn't have anything else to learn.
Right.
I think I still am learning about rugby, especially
Right.
my position. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I trained really hard.
That's awesome.
Played a lot of rugby, and yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, listen, that's the end of the show. Short and sweet. 20 minutes flies.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Not a problem. But before you leave, one shout out, please let everybody at home know who you are again, how they can get in contact, how they can get involved in rugby in the community when things pick up again.
Yeah, my name's Hilary. I'm the president of Fort McMurray Knights Rugby Club. And if you want to get involved, go to our Facebook page, Fort McMurray Knights, easy to find. And we also have minis and juniors, so if your kids want to get involved, reach out, because it's a great sport. It's a great sport to be a part of and to play, so
There you
yeah.
go. Sweet. Awesome. Well, everybody at home, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world, that's been another episode of the Mac City Morning Show. Once again, I'm your host, Elliot Pierre, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch the show. On that note, have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
I said this. That's another Mac City Morning Show done.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.